Wouldn't it be cool if Minecraft had trains? Now don't get me wrong, we have minecarts, which is like the second best thing, but it's no train. It's something like the equivalent of having a cardboard box and then going tumbling down the stairs. Not that I would recommend doing that, please do not do that, but still, I just think we should have like better transport. Now today I'm going to overcome the minecart, as I'm going to try my best to make myself a working train. Now I'm no good at modding, I'm no good at commands either, so I'm going to be doing the old fashioned way, relying on solely redstone. So redstone, dust, slime blocks, anything like that is the only thing that I'm gonna know how to use to make this thing. Anyway, sit back, relax and join me in the very first episode on making real stuff in Minecraft. So I started off by making a train track, as of course you cannot have a train without a train track. I then had the brilliant ideas, instead of making it one whole capsule, I decided to split the actual cabin of this train into quarters so that I can make it a relatively big train, of course, without getting stuck by that 12 block push limit. That's one of the biggest things that I had to face when making this thing. Now here you see me trying to make a flying machine thing that can go both left and right. Of course, you cannot have a train that only goes one direction. And after many failed attempts, I finally got a design that actually let me do this. And honestly, I was so excited when I saw this. Now the way I did this was having a slime block every other block. And of course, after many attempts, I got to which works. So now every time that I pull it either direction, the whole thing will follow. Sort of like a caterpillar does. It sort of looks like a sort of caterpillar. I then figured out where the other quarters were going to go. That gave me a rough scale of how big the cabin actually was, and it actually comes out to be massive. So I started working on building these quarters. Of course, I built one quarter, now I just have to build 3 more. And first of all, I built half of the cabin, I tested it and it worked absolutely fine, moving both left and right. So then I started to work on the other half. And after the other half was built, I got to the point where I have this full cabin thing. While I was building the other half, it actually turned out that I made the track too big. And finally, after I got this whole cabin built, it was so small, so I had to expand it. So of course, you can expand this to whatever size that I wanted. So I just kept on repeating it over and over again by hand, but eventually my hands got tired and I resorted in using structure blocks, which was a problem of its own, as I am so bad at commands, it's unbelievable. But after a while, I finally got used to it, and I finally made this long cabin tube thing that worked. This long tube could move both left and right. I mean, this is like a first for Bedrock. We are not used to having this capabilities. So now we started to work on the actual flying machine which pulled it, as of course you cannot just pull it individually by sticky pistons. I'm moving it by hand, as that would just be very annoying. So I had to build flying machines on either end. Now this was a giant problem, as of course you cannot just build a flying machine that goes one direction. Of course it has to go the other way as well, so it won't just leave it behind. And I came across my first one. Now for this I used 4 different flying machines to move each quarter. So of course each quarter is separate, but this became out as incredibly bad, as like it was just really unreliable, which of course is no good. You can't have an unreliable train. But eventually I got to a working one. What I would have to do is actually linked up all 4 quarters together. So instead of having like separate quarters individually powered by one flying machine, all 4 of them were going to link up to the same flying machine, and then yeah, it actually worked. Now you should have seen my face when this thing worked. I was so shocked. Honestly, it was amazing. Then after I built one on one side, I built one on the other side. And then I tested it again and it still worked fine. But when I tried to go the other way, it sort of left the flying machine behind. And that was just due to one observer being misplaced, which is so annoying. But then I had to build a separate flying machine to be able to drag that flying machine back towards the capsule. It was just a bit of a mess then. And after a while, I got to this, where this long capsule thing was being dragged left to right automatically, and honestly, it just looked insane. It just looked amazing. You can go in it and all sorts. Now that's all that's left to do is to decorate this. So as you can see, we are currently standing on the platform now. There's no train, But there is a button over here, and when we click this, that means that wherever the train is, which can only be on the other platform, it'll basically just call the train to you. And then here we go, as you see, the train is pulling up into the station. This thing is so cool. Now there should be a world download in the description for those of you who want to have a go with this. Of course, this works for only Bedrock, as I play on Bedrock. Anyway, that's all from me, and I will see you all later.